should see a bar running along the top of their screen any moment. I do indeed record all of these sessions, and it will be sent in a recap to you all at the end of our class with a link to a recording on a YouTube channel that I will use as an example through this very session. So hopefully we're all still looking at a slide that says, we're here for YouTube Part 1. For those who do not know me, my name is Anuj. I am the Field Marketing Specialist here in Santa Cruz in Monterey County. And I broke this session into 2 parts. So today we're going to focus on Part 1 with a little bit of background information on YouTube as a platform itself and some of the basics that you want to think about in setting up and establishing this account as a part of your marketing plan. And then in Part 2 tomorrow, which we'll be using the same exact link, I will also include that link in the recap that you get. But in Part 2, we're going to be actually going over uploading something to the channel and a lot more of the back end of what's going on in the YouTube studio. But before I get rolling, I am just going to ask that everybody please remain muted through the entirety of this session to best be able to make sure I get everybody out of here in the half hour I have allotted. I want to make sure that we take all questions at the end. If you are worried about forgetting something, please feel free to utilize the chat, which again should be on either side of my head if you open it up, and you can drop your questions into the chat box. I will address all of those at the end as well when I open up the field for questions. Outside of that, that's really it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And before we get into some of the basics for how we want to think about incorporating YouTube and how you want to set up that account, let's talk about some important stats that are relevant for not only you as agents, but to think about for the consumer part of your business. What's going on out in the world for your audience in regards to how YouTube sits as a platform that they use. And one of the big takeaways, as you can see, this stat comes from Statista and it's updated as of this year. All the little slides will have some kind of annotation on them. But YouTube has 2.3 billion users worldwide as of 2021. That makes it the second most popular social network. The only platform that has more active users than YouTube is Facebook. These 2.3 billion users are defined as viewers who log into the site at least once per month. And considering YouTube videos can be viewed without using Google accounts, such as the autoplay features in apps like WhatsApp or the autoplay redirects that you might see if you're in my region from the emails that you get from me, the YouTube reach is actually much, much higher than that, which is insane to think about. So when you think about the kind of visibility that YouTube can help provide to help increase your online footprint and to help your marketing strategy better flow and sync with the goals of your business plan, syncing YouTube to your marketing plan is going to be one of those great ways to elevate your brand and to organically increase its SEO or search engine optimization. As I said, YouTube was the second largest social media platform behind Facebook, but it's also the second largest search engine used behind Google. Not only is YouTube, like I said, YouTube is the second most popular search engine, and in fact, it receives more searches per month than sites like Bing or Yahoo or AOL or Ask.com combined. So as mentioned, that means more than 2.3 billion users, equivalently about 1/3 of all internet users on the planet, are using this platform at least once per month to watch videos, but they are also using this platform in the same way that they operate on Google, and that's to search things that they are looking for. So again, when you think about from a consumer standpoint, how much visibility can your brand get from leveraging this platform as a part of their strategy? There's a lot of room here to make sure that this becomes a sticking point to not only be a hosting platform for your videos, but to make sure that it helps increase your visibility and your footprint with everything you're trying to do in regards to marketing yourself. Next slide. As we talked about, they are the second most largest social platform being used. So almost 80% of all internet users say they have a YouTube account. Now, like I mentioned before, that means, it's basically anybody with a Gmail has a YouTube account. Google's parent company, I should say, Alphabet, owns YouTube. It's one of the reasons why they acquired YouTube. So that number is also probably a lot lower than it should be, because there's lots of respondents that probably have a YouTube account and are using one, but don't necessarily realize it. And we're going to touch on this a little bit later when we talk about setting up your account for your business. So when we look at YouTube by generation, one of the surprising takeaways that came from the same study that we were looking at in regards to the usage by platform also the also that data shows that 51% of elderly people over the age of 75 are also a large portion of the audience, not only as of the last couple of years on platforms like YouTube, but also on platforms like Instagram as well. And at least 90% of US internet users aged 18 to 44 are accessing YouTube weekly. Now, here's an important statistic to think about, right? Recently, more and more businesses are crafting YouTube as a part of their mindset in how they are advertising their business, how advertising their brand or their business or their products. And a lot of them are doing it through video. Almost, and this is like pre-pandemic, 62% of their businesses were starting to use YouTube as a channel to post content regularly. And it is the second most popular channel for businesses to share video content behind Facebook. And now actually that number is starting to or level out as more and more people are hosting those videos on YouTube and then just sharing them to Facebook instead of uploading them to Facebook directly. YouTube has gained a lot of popularity as a platform for personal viewing, but it has been a valuable tool for businesses, especially over the last year, as it's become a way for businesses to not only communicate with their existing customers but also expose themselves to potentially new customers. And with its massive reach, it's no shocker that businesses are starting to roll this into a more regular part of their strategy. 90% of people that responded to Think with Google's research study in 2019 were saying that they were discovering new brands or products on YouTube. And you think about how these numbers are probably gone through the roof in our pandemic time. Doesn't mean they're necessarily making a purchase that day, but it does mean that you're gaining exposure and making traction with users across all types of products and services. So the big takeaway, just like you would with any other social media tool that you're thinking of folding into your marketing strategy, you want to look at the fact that there are real numbers that back up the fact that users utilize this platform and retain things that they see on it for stuff they may use in the future, or will follow things on it as a way to remind themselves of things they want in the future. So it's a great way it's a long way to say that whether you're looking at your existing customer base or a new one, it's a great way to remind them what you do or stay engaged with them in a way that is statistically valuable to consumers in the marketplace. And like I said before, it is the most popular channel for digital video consumption in the United States. That also thinks about the fact that not everybody watching YouTube videos are watching it directly on the YouTube channel. So we're thinking about 90% of all videos viewed, US digital videos are viewed on YouTube because they're hosted on YouTube. So again, whether you're sharing it somewhere else, it's another good way to say this is less than 10% of the market share is taken up by videos that are uploaded on platforms like Vimeo or Vero or any other third market video host that there is out there. So again, when you think about the why are you folding this into your strategy? Well, it's because it's the largest one that exists. So it's the one consumers are more familiar with. Now, I am going to go ahead and stop sharing these slides and dive into a bit of a live demo on some of the stuff you want to think about when setting up the YouTube account for your business. So give me one sec. I know we're all looking at me real quick. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my browser and get YouTube open. And we are sharing my screen again. Alrighty, y'all. We are looking at YouTube. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to sign out of my user account just so we can just go over some basics, right? So if I sign out, this is what any user is going to see right out of the gate. So I have this on dark mode. I can change that in the settings right here. So you might be more accustomed to it looking like this. That's just something any user can change regardless of whether they're signed into a Google account or not. Videos are always shown based off of the user's history and interaction with the internet. Things like cookies provide that kind of tracking feedback for Google to promote things to them that they think they will recommend. So you don't necessarily have any control over what's going to be here. The best way to control how you can stay in front of your consumers is by making sure you post regularly and, in turn, stay in front of your consumers. But I digress. What you're going to look at are a bunch of videos. And then on your left-hand side, you've got your main menu, YouTube being at the top. You can collapse it by clicking on these three lines, just like you can in the, like Prospect Square, things like that. Home, self-explanatory, it's your home page. Trending are videos that are popular on YouTube based on all of the YouTube users in the United States. Subscriptions, again, pertain to the individual user. There'll be channels that you are subscribed to. And then down here, these are all subsections of YouTube. News, movies, gaming, etc. Don't need to cover those, not important to us. What we are going to talk about is creating a YouTube account. Whenever you sign in, you're immediately going to see you can sign in with a Google account. Any Gmail account will create a YouTube account. But there are two different types of Gmail accounts. And this is what will affect the type of YouTube account you have. So if we hit use another account, and if I wanted to create an account, you'll see the option to create an account for yourself, a personal account, or for your business, a business account, which is called a brand account. Now, the only, and I stress, the only differences that are enabled to you in having a brand account are, A, you will be able to change the channel name. So, when I'm signed into my account, my YouTube channel is Anuj.Chaudhary, as that's my name, and I don't have a brand account. But if I switched it to a brand account, then I could call it Monterey Bay Coldwell Banker Education, right? I could call it whatever my business name is, whatever my team name is, whatever my brand is. So you want to make sure that you set up a brand account. And if you already have a channel, I have the instructions in the recap, and we'll be going over in more detail when we talk in the YouTube studio tomorrow how you can migrate an existing account to a brand account. But all you would do is come in here, create your email. None of this ever has to be consumer facing. So you never have to worry about that, right? All of these emails can be forwarded to whatever email you want. And in the contact space, we'll be able to add whatever email you want your clients or consumers to see. So this is, again, just for managing the YouTube channel. And along with being able to title the channel, you can also delegate access. So that way, not everybody has to log in with the same account. You can go in as a brand account and then delegate if you have other agents or a marketing professional or whatever as a part of the team. You can give them access to that account. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, and we can talk about the rest of the basics that we're going to cover today before we dive into questions. So let's go here, put in the password. And just like that, I'm now signed into YouTube. First thing you're going to see that is different is we've got this little button right here. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. It's where you will be able to upload things. You'll see now I have a account that is associated with this. Again, if you have when you're creating your account or your brand account is where you'll go in, add all of this information, your business hours, contact, all of that good stuff. If you have a Google business account, you can merge those here to make sure that everything is all properly linked. Whoops, I apologize about that. Continuing on, this is where this information is managed. The rest of all of our settings we'll go into again tomorrow when we're talking about YouTube and some of the stuff in the back end. But what you're going to see here is, again, you've got these same items, except now we've got some stuff that pertains again to you as the user. Your library is going to be the videos you have uploaded. Your history are videos that you've watched. Your videos are, again, videos that you've uploaded. And then your liked videos are videos that you've liked. And these two pertain to playlists. I've created a playlist, and then everybody has a watch later playlist that's set by default. You will see them populate here. Channels that you are subscribed to will also populate right down here. And then again, you've got all of the extras below. Let's go ahead and look at my YouTube channel. When we go ahead and click on the menu option right up here, you will get the option, this drop down that I use to get to my Google account. You will see all kinds of great items below. Here is where you'll get the option to view your channel, which will give you the option to look at it as a consumer, with the exception of these two buttons. Consumers won't see these buttons. YouTube Studio we'll dive into later. Switching account. If you've got multiple YouTube accounts, you'll be able to go into here. Or if you're someone that has been granted access to another account, you'll log into your account and be able to see it here as well. So you can switch back and forth. Appearance, again, changes for you, the user only. And when you go into some of your settings, again, we're going to dive into some of the big stuff tomorrow. Actually, the only things you want to focus on out of the gate are these things right here. You can edit your profile picture if you didn't do it in the setup by clicking on the profile picture. It will take you to the correct spot in the back end where you can edit all three of these items in one go. Your profile picture, your banner image, and your video watermark. So let's say you've got a logo that was created by the design team and Design Concierge and a social media banner. Here's where you can come in and upload that item right off of your computer just like you would anything else. Same for your logo. If you put it in as a watermark, it will automatically add the watermark to your YouTube videos to, again, add that air of professionalism to the channel. Beyond that, the basic info is where you're going to add things like your bio, any of the links that you have active. So things like your website, your Instagram channel, your LinkedIn, again, only things that you are using actively, because there's nothing harmful, more harmful to your brand than the link to something that hasn't been updated in weeks. And then the contact information that consumers will see. So again, I have a Gmail account associated with this, but if you hit contact me on my channel, it will show up with my Coldwell Banker email in the About section. Bam. So that's all I wanted to cover today. I'm going to go ahead and open up, see if there's any questions. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask away while I check the chat.
Yeah, hi, this is Howard.
Hello, Howard. What can I do for you?
Did you mention or say that we have to create a new Gmail account for this particular channel?
Not in specific, but what we do want to do is, in the grand scheme of things, you would want to eventually migrate the. So basically, it's like handing ownership of the channel to a branded Gmail account. So
Right.
it doesn't need to be something you do out of the gate if you've already got something in existence, um, because right now there aren't any advantages outside of being able to A, control the channel name, and B, delegate access to the channel, and linking it to your Google business account, obviously. Um, Without any of those things, there's really nothing you get, I should say, by creating that version of the Gmail account.
Okay, but I mean, would you recommend that you have a different Gmail account that you associate with your business versus your personal?
Yes, because for example, systems like InTouch, right? They'll allow you to import one way, so you can keep everybody in the business sphere or in your personal sphere associated about your business, but not everybody about your business gets dumped into the personal side. And that's the same kind of thing you can avoid here by just having it under a different email and then having that forward into your business account. So you can kind of tab everything in one lump, and like everything that happens in this is associated with business in some way.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
So it's just kind of like for a future ease of planning thing, I like to recommend it. Any other questions I can answer for anybody while I've got you here? Like I said, tomorrow is when we will go into a deep dive of the YouTube studio and all of the bells and whistles that you get there, and how to upload something to the channel and how to manage the channel from a consumer front, and kind of some of what you might think about in some of the early content spaces. I am not seeing anything in the chat, and doesn't look like anybody else has their hand up. How do you market videos? There is a question that popped into the chat. So marketing the videos is something that I'll kind of cover at the tail end of tomorrow's session. But in essence, what you are doing with the YouTube channel is creating a space where you can house the videos and then leverage them as a part of a larger marketing strategy that you can develop with your field marketing specialist to, depending on what the content is, meet a specific business need, right? So let's say your goal is to, uh, over the next 2 quarters, gain a better toehold to, get a listing or two in a new market. And, let's say that territory is a city. So you'll create content that is relevant to consumers in that city and market it through whatever existing channels you have as a part of a marketing plan. So we'll cover, like I said, we'll cover a little bit of that stuff in detail. But if you really want to deep dive into that stuff today, reach out to your field marketing specialist and talk to them about, your marketing plan and how it can work in conjunction with your business plan, so you can start to see some of these sustainable growth patterns be built in something like a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel. Does that answer your question, Joanne? I feel like I kind of rambled there for a little bit. Perfect. Cool. I dropped a link to a survey in the chat. Please feel free to, I don't get to see those. They go right to my management team. Any feedback is always valuable, and I always appreciate it. I will also send that as a part of the recap, which will include the recording that I'm just about to stop. You guys can also feel free to play around with my YouTube channel when you